Twist of fate. The 10th of January 2022. Daddy comes to Abby's room. Abby runs to the bathroom and asks her to go, else he will beat her with the stick. Daddy says, I am your daddy, whom Gayatri made you meet. Abby looks at her and says, I like white hair, and says, even I want it, and cries like a kid. Daddy says, when you become of my age, then you will get white hair. He shows the drawings and says he made it. He tells that the doll looks like Gayatri, and says her name shall be Gay. Daddy says we shall name this doll as Fuggy. Abby says she is my Fuggy now. Pragya cries looking at Abby's pic, and says if she could then she would have stayed with him. Abby tells Daddy that Gayu went home. Daddy says she will come in the morning. Pragya sleeps. Abby rests in Daddy's lap and gets up. Shockingly, as Daddy touches his hair, he says, I will not beat you as you have white hair, but don't touch my hair again. Daddy says, when the moon sleeps the sun will come. Abby says, I will be happy as Gahu comes. She asks him to sleep and says, when you wake up Gayatri will come. He asks how much time is left. Daddy says, I don't know. When moon sleeps then sun will appear. She asks him to sleep in. Says, when you wake up, then Gayatri will come. Abby says, if I sleep then I will see Gayu. Daddy says, if you close your eyes then we'll see her. Abby closes his eyes and says he couldn't see her. Abby rests on the bed. Daddy asks him to sleep. Pragya prays to make him fine so that they can live together. Abby gets flashes of Pragya and him and wakes up just then. Daddy asks what happened. He rushes to the bathroom. In college, Ranbir beats up a guy for defaming Prachi. The guy says, why are you bothered much? Ranbir says, Prachi is mine, you mine. Riya asks him to stop fighting. The guy tries to beat him, but Ranbir says, in your dreams Riya is panics. The lecturer goes to call the principal. Prachi comes in front of Ranbir and stops him. She asks him to stop his gundagiri. Ranbir says, did you know what he did? Riya recalls taking help of her friend to malign Prachi's image and respect. He asks her to ask her dad to give him a chance in the rock concert. Riya thinks dad is not a rock star now. FB ends. Ranbir tells that the guy has made a MMS and morphed your pic in that MMS. Prachi looks at the guy and Riya and tells Ranbir that the MMS is not fake, but real. She says, I have no objection. Ranbir is shocked and taken back. Abby comes out to the hall and stands on the table. He throws the papers in air. Mitali and Tanu come there. They see the house messed up and realized Abby has done this. Mitali asks him what is he doing under the table. Abby says he made her drawing and shows it, calling her Mitu. Iliya comes there and assigns Mitali to get her stick. She asks Abby to come out and promise that he will not beat her. Mitali gives stick in her hand. Abby gets violent seeing the stick and says, now see what I will do. Iliya is about to beat him, when Pragya comes there and stops her. Abby asks, why did you cheat? You came now. He says, I was told that when moon sleeps, you will come. Pragya says, I didn't cheat. He is about to throw the table on her, but stops. Pragya asks him to calm down and tells him that they will do the painting together. Abby runs to his room. In the college, Ranbir beats up a guy for defaming Prachi. The guy says, why are you bothered much? Ranbir says, Prachi is mine, just mine. Riya asks him to stop fighting. The guy tries to beat him, but Ranbir says, in your dreams Riya panics. Palak asks someone if she saw Prachi. The guy says, I didn't know that she is so hot. Prachi asks, how dare you to speak with her like that? They go inside and see Ranbir beating the guy. The guy says, What Ranbir asks, what did you say that you have no objection? Prachi says I have no objection and that's why you shall not have any objection. She says Parth and I are together and says nobody shall have any problem if we share our moments, it is our private thing. She goes. Rhea and Parth are shocked. Parth says she is supporting our act. Why? Rhea says I really don't know, but whatever happened is good, she has done half of our work, superb. Ranbir going behind Prachi and asking her to listen. Prachi asks with which right, you are holding my hand. She says what I told you, didn't you listen, only Parth has the right on me and nobody else. Ranbir asks if Parth has right on her now. She says yes. Ranbir asks if she has no objection with people watching MMS. Prachi says no. Ranbir says this means Parth and you. Prachi says yes. She says I have thought that I will marry him and Ranbir gets angry and hits his hand on the wall. Prachi asks if he is getting angry and says when two people love each other then they can share anything, asks if he understands and says if he did not understand then he needs counseling. Ranbir says you are doing this intentionally. Prachi says I had told you that I need money, big house and cars. Ranbir says you are hiding a big thing from me, you love me. Prachi says when I came to know that you have no money as your parents have the control of all the money. She says she took a U-turn and accepted Parth, as he has everything. Ranbir asks her to look at his eyes and says if he has love which I have. Prachi says who needs love? She asks if she is not looking happy. Ranbir says you are not looking happy, but just saying. Prachi says she don't love him. Ranbir asks her not to lie and says you are doing this for Ray's sake. Prachi says who told you, Shahana? And you have agreed. Rhea hears them. Prachi says Shahana likes you and don't want to hurt you, and that's why she lied. Ranbir says he knows that Rhea is behind all this. Prachi says she is getting what she wanted, Parth. And if Rhea is behind then thanks to her. She says I love Parth. Ranbir hits on the pillar and goes. Ranbir goes. Prachi cries and calls Rhea. She says you had asked Parth to do this. I know. She says you are my sister, God shall give 1,000 enemies, but not give sister like you. Iliya, Mitali and Tanu are sitting in the hall. Iliya says Gayatri handled Bai very calmly and says I am surprised that Bai went from here calmly. Mitali says yes, even she was surprised. Tanu says it can happen and tells being a model, she knows that it happened because of the dressing. She says why do we get nervous seeing police officer uniform? She says we get that feeling due to the dressing. Mitali thinks she will get mad if she stays here. Tanu asks her to go. Iliya says if this happened due to the dressing, then why don't you go to him wearing a dress like Gayatri? Tanu says okay. Iliya thinks I am handling Bai and making yours and my future and hopes Rhea is handling Prachi there. Prachi says I didn't know that you will do this. She says you made MMS and made it viral in college, I can't look in anyone's eyes. It is good that Ranbir came to know that I am a gold digger and everything happened in front of you. I committed suicide for your happiness and broke Ranbir's heart. Rhea says I have thrown you out of Ranbir's life. She says she wants Ranbir 100%. Pragya comes to room and sees Abhi having finger on his lips. He says. Everyone asks him to be silent. Pragya says if you calm down and don't shout or scold anyone, then they will not get angry. Abhi says when did I scold them? They scold me. Pragya asks him to change his clothes. Abhi goes to change. Pragya looks at his drawings. Abhi comes back and asks, how is it looking? Pragya says very nice. Abi says drawing and asks her to say who is the drawing. Pragya says is it me? Abi says Mitu. He shows next drawing. Pragya says Tanu. Abi says right. He shows next drawing. Pragya says it is your doll who looks like me. Abi says this is my Fuggy and asks can I call you Fuggy. Pragya gets emotional and teary eyes. He asks why are you crying? Did I scold you? Pragya says you called me Fuggy so I got emotional. Tere Nam plays. Pragya asks him to promise and asks him not to call her Fuggy in front of the family members. Abi says game? Pragya says yes. Mitali comes there. Pragya covers her head with veil on her head. Mitali asks her to say why she locked the door. Iliya comes there. Mitali says she doubts about Gayatri. Pragya thinks what to do as the Elaichi is over. Ranbir comes to see Parth in the hospital and sees Prachi sitting there. He gets surprised and says he didn't expect her here in. Says you have taken a high jump. Prachi asks Parth to get Ranbir arrested for beating him badly. Parth says he didn't know about our relation and tells that they shall give her a chance. Prachi tells Parth that Ranbir shall be arrested. She argues. Mitali asks Gayatri to say. Abi throws the stick on them. Iliya takes the stick and is about to hit Abi, but Pragya holds it. Mitali says, how dare you to stop Iliya? Iliya says I will talk to her and asks her to come out. Pragya asks Abi not to get scared and says nothing will happen to you. Abi asks her not to go. Pragya says, you shall not get scared. Ranbir says you care for him so much. Prachi says Parth and I Ranbir says do whatever you want, but if MMS like this comes in front of me again then I will kill Parth. He gives a bouquet to Prachi. Prachi asks him to go and her finger gets injured with thorn. Ranbir says I had asked the florist to keep many thorns. He says this injury is very less compared to my pain which you have given me. Parth says let's forget all this and be friends again. Ranbir says a few things can't be forgotten and asks him to file a complaint against him. He asks him to take care and says I had forgotten she is here to take care of you.